Balancing a full-time job, all of your family life obligations, and working a side hustle all at once can be pretty tricky. Here's a few insights that might help you nail that balance. Hey, I'm Brian and I help you make videos that help you learn, create, and grow in the video space. And can we all agree that side hustle is just like a crummy word? Sounds like I'm trying to swindle somebody in a gambling den or something like that, or like in a dark alley trying to trick somebody. But right, I'm Brian, and I work a day job in IT, and have done so for the past couple years. I've been on YouTube for about 6 years, and I've been a video editor on the side for 3 years. Both of those have netted me a little bit of side income. So I do have some relevant experience in the area. Disclaimer, it is very, very, very fortunate for me to be able to work a side job that I enjoy. But for many folks, working a side job or a second job is just a fact of life. I fully acknowledge that a side hustle or a second job, it's often not a sexy status symbol of how hard you work or how hard you grind. For some people, it's just something that has to be done, and for others, it's something that can fortunately be done. In any situation, I hope that these tips are helpful. So the first thing to ask is, what is your goal? What are you working towards? It's important to start here because this will determine your entire framework. If you're working a side job for extra income that's very, very, very part-time, then maybe you pick a side job and off you go. But if you're working a side job in the hopes that it will maybe replace your day job, you may need a little more planning. In that case, think to yourself, does this side job have skills that I can learn that could increase my pay? Do I actually enjoy the work, or do I at least enjoy it more than my day job? And if desired, can I build it into a business that sells a service or a product? These are all good questions to ask up front, as long as it's not like a life or death situation thing. I think the biggest question to ask is, what is all of this money for? Is it going to help in my big life goal that I'm trying to achieve? Now, adding parallel skills and or deepening your existing skills can be really, really helpful, especially in the creative field. In the example of video editing, I mean, there's obviously video editing itself, but then there's animation, there's motion graphics, there's learning how to operate the camera itself, there's photography. I mean, there are a million supporting skills that go along with being a video editor. Adding these skills to your tool belt can make the entire skill set much, much more valuable. So now you have a direction, and you know why you want to work a secondary or an additional job. I want to quit my 9 to 5. I want work-balanced life freedom. I want to spend more time with friends or family or kids. Whatever your reason, the next point to keep in mind is your support system. Take this studio, for instance, right? There's lights, there's camera, there's microphones. I mean, there's all sorts of gear in here. Various tools that by themselves are fairly powerful, but they come together to make a much, much more cohesive and hopefully more watchable video. A nice picture with crappy audio isn't very enticing. And by the same degree, good audio, but with terrible lighting, also makes for a not great watching experience. They work in unison to create a cohesive video. In the exact same manner as an individual embarking upon an additional work journey, you need a good support system to keep you going. A significant other, a group of friends, a good family member or two. These are people who can help you out. You can certainly try to do all of these additional jobs and do all of the additional life stuff with no help, but it's a lot harder, and it's much, much easier with the help of a few loved ones. And on a side note, thank you to all the friends and family who have supported me thus far. I appreciate you guys very, very much. Now, this is the internet, of course, and it can quite often be a lonely place. While not a direct replacement, at least not immediately, if you ever need a good support system, two good places to go are certain specific subreddits and specific discords. You like to paint Warhammer 40k miniatures on the weekend? There's a subreddit for that. You specifically like one of your favorite YouTubers? There's probably a Discord for that. Joining any or one of these groups is a great way to cultivate and maybe propagate getting that support system together. I have very little idea how people make friends in like real outside life, but usually on something like a Discord, dropping a message like, hey, who wants to play some video games, is a pretty good place to start. But really, how do people make friends in real life? Do you just say hi? Well, having fun and blowing off some steam is an important part of keeping your brain health good, especially while you're taking on this additional workload. You know why you're working towards something, and you have a support system to assist you, but what side job do you actually pick? Now, there are a million, bazillion videos that are on the internet, especially YouTube, that has long lists of side hustles and jobs that you can get into. I am admittedly a little biased towards the creative field because I work in the creative field, but here's my take. First of all, it has to be flexible. Part of the reason, maybe, that you picked this side job is that you wanted the freedom to be able to work on your schedule, not someone else's. This would likely rule out most regular 9-to-5 jobs. Second, preferably computer-based jobs or tasks. These are a great choice because you can stay at home, or as long as you have internet access, you can work pretty much anywhere. You basically need a computer and Wi-Fi, and you're good to go. Now, a quick list that fits that bill. Video editing, photo editing, coding, design, strategy work, and social media marketing. These are all good work with a computer type jobs. But a big advantage of these creative type of side jobs is that the actual ceiling of pay is a lot higher. Vast oversimplification, but there is a much higher ceiling. There's a much higher ability to earn more money with creative work. Now, it's a good idea to pick out one of these jobs and try it out a little bit. See if you do like it. Try creating things that you see from other YouTube videos. In the case of video editing, you can take your phone and you can record footage on that, and then you can watch a video or two, maybe one of mine, on how to edit your first video. You can learn most of what you need to know for basic video editing from YouTube. And as a singular point of data anyways, I didn't go to film school or anything like that. I learned pretty much all of the video and editing skills that I know from YouTube, and from being on the job as well. You can also take free stock footage from a website like Mixkit, and you can also cut together all of that video. So there's more than one way to get started with video editing, and there's more than one way to get started with just about any kind of creative job. Basically, work it backwards. Look at a job or a task that's in the creative field that you think you would enjoy, look up a basic tutorial on YouTube, work it backwards, and see if you can try to do it. And hey, even better, you might enjoy it. Now you got your side gig of choice in hand, and you started cracking into it. But all of a sudden, the people around you start looking at you like you got 3 heads. What gives? Well, something has to give. All right, how many times has this happened to you? You come home after working your 7th millionth double, triple shift in a row, and you just collapse in a big old pile on the couch. And it's probably a cluttered couch, by the way. And all of a sudden, a family member or a significant other says to you, "Hey, there's a ton of dishes in the sink. They've been here for days." And you feel that little anger start to bubble up in you. I have heard this conversation in this scenario dozens of times, and it's difficult for both parties to grasp just what's going on. Another key to keeping the peace in a mixed person household is indeed communicating that something has to give. And even if you have the physical time to do extra work and extra chores and extra stuff around the house, you're just mentally checked out. It's important to communicate to your loved ones in your mixed person household that, yes, indeed, I am doing this extra work for X reason. So the kids can have a better education, so that we can retire earlier, so that I can move job fields and be happier in a different career. So yes, I may be able to do less chores, less socialization, less stuff overall, but it's in the hope that it pays off for this larger goal that I have. Hopefully that we have. Whatever the reason, you need to talk to your people so that hopefully they understand where you're coming from. Or hopefully so that they kind of get it. Now, a great tool for keeping the peace with your loved ones and yourself is scheduling. Now, you need some kind of schedule or some kind of scheduling system. As you take on more work, it can feel like it's totally spiraling out of control. Say you take on 3 different editing jobs, but one of them is taking way longer than expected. The next one gets pushed back, and then the next one gets pushed back, and then they're getting pushed back so far that everything's out of whack. Soon, you're missing deadlines and you're going way outside of the scope of the original project that you had planned. Finding a system that works for you is the key, but this is just the one that I use. So I use Notion and Google Drive for my main sort of tracking tools. Now you have some more tools to better balance your day job and your side job. But before you run off and start wrenching on your new life direction, here are 3 quick tips to keep in mind. Number 1, Don't kill your golden goose. It's very important to maintain appearances and keep up a satisfactory level of work at your day job. Even if the job is easy or more relaxed, showing up late and doing sloppy work and that kind of stuff, it'll definitely get noticed. The whole thing kind of falls apart if you don't have the day job or if you lose the day job. Don't rob a bunch of time from your main job so that you can work extra hard on your side job. Your side job is on the side. Number 2, much easier than working 2 jobs is liking the video. Lets the algorithm know that we're doing a good job, and it is greatly appreciated. Lets me continue making videos like these for you guys. Now, on the topic of being a little bit jealous, number 3, keep something for yourself. It is just as important to keep something just for yourself. Don't get me wrong, hard work is the door price to get in. It's the ante for increasing your skills and changing your lifestyle. But I don't personally subscribe to this 24/7 grind your nose off Sigma male grind set kind of thing. It just feels a little silly to me, to be honest. You do actually need some breaks. Even if it's just an hour or 2 a week, engaging in a hobby that you enjoy, something like playing music or playing video games or knitting or crocheting, whatever it is that you do, whatever that hobby is, enjoy it, but guard that time jealously. I learned the hard way with video games that trying to monetize every single hobby that you have is a quick road to being extremely dissatisfied. Keep something just for yourself. Keep in mind that this is a solution. This is a framework. This is a method for working towards your big, large life goals. You, as a person, ultimately gets to decide what works for you. Coming up with ideas for creative jobs, or really any job, can be pretty difficult. Check out this video right here for another framework that can help you in coming up with ideas for creative videos, creative design, or really anything.